Okay, now I want to talk about the pspath. That's the problem solution path. So we've talked about the big picture strategy and the tactics, and then we talked about the triggers, the mental triggers, and I talked about story and the importance of using story and how it pulls people in. But now we're going to talk about creating real value in your pre-launch, and it's going to overlay on top of the triggers, and it's going to overlay on top of the story. So when I first started learning, copywriting way back a decade or more ago, well, way over a decade ago, there was this. The formula was called, the first formula I learned, and one of the most effective formulas, was what they called problem, agitate, solve. So it was PAS, problem, agitate, solve. And so if this is your sort of sales cycle, was right there. And so, you would define a problem, and then you would get them all worked up about that problem, and then you would solve the problem for them, and the solution would be buy my stuff, and here's this great solution. So, you've got a stain in your clothes. Oh my gosh, it looks horrible. You're going to have to throw your clothes out, so that's a problem. Agitating about it. You just spent a fortune on this new suit, and now it's worth nothing. That's the agitation, and then the solution would be like buy this magic powder or buy this magic lotion, and it'll take care of the stain. So you'll be all taken care of. So that worked then, not so much now. I mean, it still works. It absolutely still works. But in this new world we're in, the problem solution path works a lot better. And I want to thank my friend Lisa Sasovich, who really helped me. She has this thing called PSPS. And it's actually sort of along the same lines as the product launch formula, and the way we roll through things and the way we create huge value. So we're going to go from problem, agitate, solve, and we're going to do, remember we've got, let's say this is now our sideways sales letter, and we have our 3 pieces of pre-launch content, right? And so a lot of times people are like, okay, Jeff, I love product launch formula because we just, create so much value. We just give people great stuff, and I don't feel salesy. That's usually the more save the world people are like that. They just love this idea of not selling, just giving value, value, value. And that is awesome. We are all about creating value within product launch formula, but it's not just about giving great content. That's not what this is about. It's about giving great content in the fashion of telling a story throughout your sequence that leads into a sale. So, then on the other hand, there's the people that are like, oh man, I don't want to if I give away good content, it's like I'm not going to have anything left to sell. And so I'm going to solve both of those. You don't want to just give great content, and then they're just going to want to buy from you. That doesn't work. And you don't want to be like this and hold on to your content and not give any value. So I'm going to solve it all for you in this video. So remember, here's your 3 pieces of pre-launch content, right? Here's PLC, PLC, PLC. And then at the end, I'm just going to draw in, because I'm running out of space over here, we're going to call this your sales video, or it could be also a sales letter. So remember, throughout here, we're really focusing on the journey, the journey or the opportunity for them to make a change. Here, we're really focused on their transformation. Here, we're starting to shift into the ownership experience. So those are the 3 big things. And then we're laying in, on top of all this, we're throwing in the mental triggers. I'm not going to draw in the mental triggers, but we're starting off with authority and reciprocity and community. We're moving through, and here we're starting to work in massive social proof and scarcity towards the end, and laying all that throughout there. But what you need to think about in terms of now delivering the value and the problem solution path is that what's the big problem that you're solving when they buy your product? So maybe you've got a product about learning how to play the guitar, and your specific product is about how to play entire songs. We have so many people buy guitars, and they can actually play some, but they can't actually play an entire song all the way through from start to finish. And so maybe that's specifically what your product is about. Then the problem is they can't play an entire song, and the solution is you're going to have a product that basically enables them to play an entire song. Or with product launch formula, what's the problem? The problem is you have a business, you have a product, you have a brand, and you want to get it out there into the world, and you want to build a business and make an impact and make a lot of money, but you can't because you're using hope marketing. So the problem is that you need to launch, and the solution in the end is to buy product launch formula. But I don't just present, like if I was just in the old school sales letter, it would be, you need to launch as my headline, something along that lines. Then I would agitate, telling them why they really need to launch and why their business is going to be dead if they don't launch, and then I would sell them the product. But that's not the way we do it within product launch formula. We have these 3 pieces of pre-launch content, and we tie those together with the story, and we create this problem solution path. So there's this problem, okay? And I'm going to change colors here. So we have this big problem, right? We have a big problem, and we want to take them to the solution. So I'm going to stick with product launch formula as an example. But this will work for just about anything except for artists, and I've got another video for artists coming up. So the problem is people need to launch. The solution is by product launch formula. Okay, so it could be the problem is they've got a guitar and they can't play songs. The solution is buy my song, buy my course on learn a new song every single day. And it could be that you're overweight. Buy my pills, my solution, my retreat, my whatever. That's like lose 30 pounds in 30 days. Whatever. We've got this big problem solution. Now what we need to do is break that down so that in each one of these videos, we're basically defining a problem, a smaller problem, and solving that problem. And then we're doing the same thing here and the same thing here. Okay. But really what we do is we define a problem, we give the solution, and then we define that next problem. And then that next problem is going to be in this video. So this is problem number 1, solution number 1, solution number 1, problem number 2, and so this is problem number 2. Basically, we just define it here at the end of our first video, and then in the second video, we reiterate what that problem is, then we give them solution number 2, then we define another problem, that's problem number 3, and then we reiterate it at the beginning of this video, that's problem number 3, and then we solve problem number 3, and then what do? We define problem number 4, and that of course is the big problem, and then we solve number 4 when we sell the product. Okay, so it's basically a series, and it doesn't, this is the simple formula. It might not look simple, but it is. It's like define a problem, solve the problem, define the next problem, and tell them you're going to give it in the next video. Next video, you reiterate that problem, you give the solution, then you give them the next problem, okay? And then you just keep on rolling forward. Now, there are times where maybe it isn't this, it's not this cut and dried. Maybe you have a problem that carries over a couple of videos. And really, in this first video, you also have to define the big problem. Okay, so if we look at what I did in product launch formula, in my last launch, what I did was I said, the initial problem is you need to launch. You absolutely have to launch. Every strong brand, every strong product, every strong business starts off with a strong launch. So that's how I started it. So I'm defining the big problem right off the bat. Then what I did was I gave them a solution, and the solution was the sideways sales letter, and that sort of that's the defining element of the product launch formula. So we started off with this big problem. The solution is you need to do this, use the sideways sales letter, and then I taught the sideways sales letter within the first video. So I defined the problem and I gave a solution. What we're doing here is we're building momentum and we're building trust. You're delivering value. It's like, here's this problem, let me give you the solution. That builds a lot of trust. Then towards the end of it, I just defined the sideways sales letter, but now I got to show you how it actually works in practice. And I went, and in this one, so I said, I'm going to show you exactly how to use this in what we call the seed launch, which is when you have no list and no product. I'm also going to tell you about a couple different launches. So then we got here, and the idea was you need to use the right launch. So that was the new problem, is you now understand the sideways sales letter and the concept of a launch, but let me show you how it actually fits within 3 styles of launches for 3 different types of businesses. So then I brought them into this one. At the beginning, I reiterated that problem. I said, you got to know what type of launch to use. And then I actually taught the seed launch along with the other 2 styles of launches. So I gave them another problem at the end of video 1. I reiterated the problem in the beginning of video 2, solved the problem in video 2 by teaching it, and then I defined another problem. The problem is now I have to show you the full blueprint of how everything all ties together here. So then I took them into the third one and I gave them the blueprint, the entire blueprint of the whole product launch formula. And then the problem was, and this is often a problem, like a lot of times the problem is you need to do something, the solution is I'm going to teach you how to do it, and the next bigger problem is now you might want to go deeper, and the solution is to buy the product. So really, if you look at what I did, it was in my third video was the product launch blueprint, and I sort of taught the whole thing. This is product launch formula here on one big mind map, okay? But within there, then at the end of the video, it was, now I know a lot of you want to take this deeper. You want to learn more about this and learn exactly how to do it and go deeper in your training. And the solution then is, in the sales video, was to buy my product. So that's the problem solution path, where you don't have to do it, like I said, it doesn't have to be this exact where you're doing a different problem and solution in every single video. It works really well if you can, because you want to sort of have this hook for each video that there is a reason to watch this thing, if there's this big problem. But you could take one problem and define it over 2 or 3 videos. The thing you don't want to do is that good old-fashioned problem agitate solve, where it just feels like one big sales letter. Within here, you need to be solving smaller problems. So that's the whole thing. It's about taking that really big problem and breaking it down into pieces and giving solutions to those pieces along the way while you're still working into this final solution. And the solution is to buy your product. And so that is the problem solution path. That's how you really deliver massive value without giving away the farm, and deliver massive value in a way so it leads into the sale.